Hello, New York Knicks fans. Oh, it's a good day to be a Knicks fan. We are recording this the Friday after the Knicks, the day after the Knicks have completed their defeat of the Detroit Pistons in the 4-game series with the final score of 116 to 113. It has been quite an exciting series, and as always, I am your host, Jake McVey, joined here by Matt Galgano. This is Jake's Hot Takes. Matt, how are you feeling on this joyous day today?
How else am I supposed to feel? I feel fantastic.
Oh, man.
These New York Knicks, they're a good team, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And, you know, our guy Jalen Brunson, he always brings it back in the end.
Captain Clutch.
It's just a great feeling. But you know what? Knicks have their work cut out for them if they want this to continue. But
they most certainly do.
Talking about that later.
Yeah, we got
Let's
the
just
future.
talk about this Detroit Pistons series. Team.
Let's talk about the whole shebang. But first, let's jump right into the matchup on Thursday. What were some of your biggest takeaways after the game?
Well, what other takeaway is there that Jalen Brunson is a top 3 player in the playoffs at this moment in time? I really do believe that.
Yes, I agree with that.
I mean, who else I would put?
Giannis
I don't know.
Giannis is out. LeBron and Luka are out.
I would put Tatum. I would put Edwards ahead of him. And I guess you got to put Curry. Maybe him and Edwards are close, but I think I would put Curry.
And we also forgot about Jokic. I feel like the more we talk this out,
the more I think about that,
the more
maybe
we talk
it's not
this
true.
out. Yeah,
but right now he is. Okay, you know what? Not the best all around. He is one of the best point guards.
Yeah, I'd say he's
one of
the
best guards.
I'd say he's the best point guard.
Yeah, you think he's better than Curry right now?
Yeah, I'd say he's better than Curry.
I think his three points don't compare to Curry, and of course Curry's experience is better. But you know what? Clutchest player. Let's say clutchest player
and that man
in the
can
playoffs.
drive, and that man can drive to a lane. For how small he is, that man Jalen Brunson can drive, and it's a good looking drive too. He hits a little driving dish, or he hits that little that driving floater right on the baseline. Man, cash every single time. I only saw it not work once.
Yeah, and you know he plays well when it matters. Is what he proved this time.
Absolutely.
I mean, even at the end of the game, where the Knicks almost gave up a 9-point lead at the end of the game.
Yeah. How many double-digit leads can this team blow in a single game?
They blew several double-digit teams. I mean, it was not a perfect game by any stretch.
No.
It was, honestly, I would say it was one of the more messy games of this series for the Knicks. The Pistons have had, every single game the Pistons have played in this series has been messy, but I would say this was one of the messiest for the Knicks because they blew so many leads. This game shouldn't have been as close as it was, but at the end of the day, Brunson stepped up when it mattered, hit the three that iced the game, and lockdown defense at the end of the game caused the error.
Yes, sir.
Caused the error by Detroit, and that's the series right there.
Yeah, man. Those last couple minutes of play were just completely electric. I mean, these two teams, you could tell they both really wanted this one. Little Caesars Arena was absolutely jumping. The crowd was chanting flopper and all this stuff at Jalen Brunson. It was a hostile environment to play in.
Yeah.
Those Pistons fans, man, they do not go easy on the away team. I know that's big talk coming from a New York fan, but, man, they were giving Brunson the business, and Brunson went out there and proved them wrong.
And you know what? This Pistons team is pretty tough. They have some good players, good bench pieces, and what a great bounce back year for them. I mean, they won 15 games last year.
Yeah.
And now they gave one of the more talented starting fives in the league a run for their money in the first round of the playoffs. I think it's a great time to be a Pistons fan. I think that team is only up from here on out. Just got to see what the next step for them is. What do you think your biggest takeaway from this series is?
This is going to be a little bit of a hater takeaway. It's less of a takeaway about the Knicks and more of a takeaway about the Pistons. Nobody ever try and accuse Jalen Brunson of being worse than Cade Cunningham ever again. Game 6 at home, Cade Cunningham goes 9 for 22 and 0 for 8 from 3. This guy is
not
buns.
a great game.
This guy is buns. Hashtag Brunson better. Hashtag enjoy Cancun. I think Jalen Brunson has cemented himself easily as the best player in this series.
100%.
Because, I saw a lot of Pistons fans. They were talking their stuff about Cade. And look, Cade was very, very impressive this series. I will not sit here and say that Cade did not impress me very much on a lot of levels. But you're not Brunson yet, buddy.
I think coming out of the series for Pistons fans, the number one question is they know Cade is their franchise player, but can he be a number one piece on a team that he's gonna lead to a championship? That's still yet to be proven. This is his first playoff series, but honestly, it was a good showing from him, and it was impressive that they even made it to this point and got 2 games on the Knicks. So I think it was a great season for Detroit, and fans should be happy, even though they're probably not right now. A player that I was very impressed with in this game was Mr. 5'6" picks himself, Mikal Bridges. I thought he had a pretty good game. A very clutch tip in at the end of the game when Brunson missed a 2-point.
Absolutely huge.
So huge, and that really contributed to winning the game.
Yeah, it put us in place. I think it cut the lead down to 5, put us in perfect position to overtake.
Something I was extremely impressed with, though, was the defense, especially towards the end of the game. I mean, in the last 2 minutes of the game, the Pistons scored 1 point. So that's all you need to win. They locked down at the end of the game. The Pistons couldn't handle the pressure. I think the lights were simply too bright for this inexperienced team.
Yeah,
and the Knicks took advantage of that.
Yeah, the Pistons definitely crumbled a bit in these last 2 minutes. I think I saw on the broadcast they said that in the last 2 minutes of the game, the Knicks went on an 8-1 run. Mm-hmm. And if you want to win a basketball game, you can't let your opponents outscore you 8-1 in the last 2 minutes of the game. Big shout out to OG Anunoby, who, despite a pretty poor efficiency game, was out there hustling and had a couple really big blocks and a couple really big steals for the Knicks. Just absolutely huge defensive input. And I wanted to shout out OG, but I also do want to shout out McCall for the same reason. I think he had a phenomenal night where he really did blend that offensive skill. He's got to be the most creative player offensively that we have on the roster. Yeah. He always seems to find himself in a random wacky position, and he just hits a nice little turnaround fadeaway, boom, cash money every single time. That's what I love about McCall. He can hit a shot from pretty much anywhere on the court.
Yeah, he's
just
crafty.
All reliable. He's not gonna he doesn't have the ball handling skills to actively beat defenders, but he can get lost in space, especially when you got big man Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns throwing screens all over the place. He gets lost in space, and that's really where he benefits. So we're going to talk about it a little later, but I definitely want to see Mitchell Robinson increase in his role when we go to Boston.
And while this was a good series for the Knicks and a lot of good things came out of it, there's a lot to be worried about, honestly.
There is.
Our main takeaway coming into this playoff series is that the Knicks have one of the worst benches in the playoffs, and now I think it's cemented that they have the worst bench in the playoffs. There's no serious contributor on this bench.
No.
Every single player in the starting 5 for the Knicks is playing at least 35 minutes a game. You have McCall, who's playing 44 out of 48 minutes in the game.
Yeah.
And it's just not sustainable. It's very concerning from that perspective, because you have guys like Deuce McBride, who he's okay, but I never trust him with the ball.
No,
especially
never.
Going against a team like Boston. It just feels like this is very unsustainable, and that it's very concerning, because it feels like every single game the Knicks have won, they've had some concerning plays and Brunson has bailed them out. And I think it's very concerning that this play is unsustainable, even though they've been playing pretty good defensively. It's just concerning from that perspective.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think you're on the right track here. I think that the team has relied on Brunson far too much throughout this series to bail them out of bad situations. I mean, can you really think of an insanely clutch moment from any other guy? I guess you have that McCall or that OG 3-pointer at the end of Game 5 to put the game in reach.
A pretty deep 3-pointer at the end of Game 4, I think it was.
Nobody has had these game-altering moments the same way that Brunson does, getting that last look. And it's true. We're not going to be able to rely on Jalen Brunson alone in order to win in the playoff. In order to win in this second-round playoff matchup. I think the Celtics are just built from head to toe with talent. So we're going to need to see a really big step up from McBride and Campaign and Mitchell Robinson, who are really the only guys that are getting any significant minutes at this point. But we're going to have to see a major step up out of them if we even want to see the Knicks stand a chance against this Boston Celtics team.
I also want to see a major scoring step up from our big guy, Cat.
Completely agree.
He's been good so far double-double. It's not anything to scoff at, especially when other guys on the team are picking up the scoring deficiency. We need him. to step up here. 10 points against a good team like the Celtics is just not going to cut it, especially when you have no one else on the bench scoring more than 3 points. It's pretty concerning. Josh Hart has been playing out of his mind, honestly. OG Anunoby has been stepping up when they need him to. McCall Bridges playing well. He's more hot and cold than anything, but when he plays well, he plays pretty well. It's just a lot of concerns coming from this Knicks team, honestly. And we're going to get into that when we talk about the Celtics, but it's just something that this playoff series has highlighted.
Yeah, and what I'll say is this team also does need to learn to temper themselves just a little bit. I think that there were certain guys on the Pistons roster that actually did a decent job of kind of getting in our guys' heads, specifically Towns. Mitchell Robinson, of course, had his climactic battle against Paul Reed. Paul Reed is such a bum.
I mean, yeah, 1, 1, and 2. It's not very good.
He's such a bum. I know Robinson didn't have that much better of a night, but man, at least he wasn't Paul Reed.
Yeah.
But Paul Reed, Tobias Harris, Dennis Schroeder, all of these guys did an excellent job instigating, and I think pulling our guys a little bit out of their focus. And that is something that you cannot do against a team like Boston, because Boston is going to get it done. The truth of the matter is Boston is going to do things that are going to seem so crazy that they managed to achieve it, that it's going to get you fired up. It's going to get you annoyed. It's going to get you aggravated, saying, how do they keep doing this?
Yeah.
So I think that mental battle is important because, I'll hone in on Dennis Schroeder in particular. Schroeder was waging a mental war the entire series. Every time that man was on the court, he was chirping something. And he was hooping, too. And as a viewer, that was incredibly frustrating to watch, is a guy as smug as Dennis Schroeder going out and dropping buckets. But it had an even bigger impact on our guys, I think, especially some of the less experienced guys in the playoff department. I think Deuce McBride was getting picked on by Schroeder pretty much all night.
Yeah.
So, I realistically, if it were up to me, Deuce McBride would not see the court again for the rest of these playoffs. I really
don't think so.
I don't think he should.
I remember one point when they gave him the ball and he was handling it, and in the span of 2 minutes, I counted three errors that he made.
Yeah.
It's just pretty unacceptable, honestly, and the only player on our bench that you can really trust to succeed at what we're asking him to do is Mitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's not even like he's stellar at what we're asking him to do, which is literally just get rebounds, and a put down every once in a while.
Yeah.
And the bench remains to be the most concerning part because against a team like the Pistons, we're playing our starters 40 minutes a game, and that's just not sustainable. If we sustain one injury to the main starting five, it's over.
It. Yeah, that's it. We have the worst starting roster in the playoffs.
It seems like if we were to go to the finals, we would have to go through Boston, then through Cleveland, and then
Oklahoma.
And I can't imagine the Knicks beating any of those teams in less than 7 games.
No,
honestly,
definitely not.
So that's another 21 games at maximum that you're going to put this team through, playing 40 minutes a game. It's just not sustainable.
No, it's not sustainable at all. And I think that Campaign should be getting the minutes over Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride ended up finishing the night with the most minutes off the bench. But, man, I thought it should have been Payne. He had a little bit of a bad shooting night. He went 1 for 3 and 0 for 1 from 3. But he played some really hard-nosed defense. He got a big steal that led to a fast break scoring opportunity, and that is really just what I like to see. Deuce McBride, he doesn't have that defensive upside that Campaign has. Not saying that Campaign plays great defense, but Campaign plays scrappy defense, and that's better than Deuce McBride, who seems like he's really only focused on when he's going to get an opportunity to shoot.
Yeah.
Anyway, when we get back, we're going to be talking about some other NBA situations and happenings going on throughout the league, so make sure you stick around for that right here on Jake's Hot Takes, only on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. We'll be right back after this.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to WaynesWayCabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostic. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutoSpa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutoSpa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to RomaDeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing the stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Welcome back, New York Knicks fans. It's me, Jalen Brunson. No, I'm joking. It's Jake McVey, and we're back at it with Jake's Hot Takes. Matt, how are you feeling?
Feeling great.
All right. Now, we need to have a serious conversation because in all of the victory, in all of the champagne popping, in all of the glory that we're feeling on this great Friday, or in your fine folks' case, it will be Sunday, we got to talk about Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Because it's getting really bad. It's getting really ugly. And
look, I think a big question is how much of it is his fault versus how much it can be set up to ownership and roster construction. Just in the fact that there's not many guys on this bench that he can trust with significant minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely see where you're coming from in that. But what I will also say is that there are some incredibly baffling substitution decisions. And I think in terms of play calling also, I'm very concerned. And I'll start with the substitution thing first because there were situations in this game where Tibbs was making substitutions and guys were coming out. And look, Josh Hart should not have been in the situation that he was towards the end of this game.
With five fouls.
Yeah.
With the entire fourth quarter to play.
And Josh Hart, he's the kind of player where he's going to get out there and he's going to play scrappy defense, especially the playoffs. We're expecting Josh Hart to be that physical perimeter defender. And that can get you into foul trouble. So, he plays the entire game and he racks up a lot of fouls early. And I think Tibbs should have pulled him even sooner. I think Tibbs should have pulled him after foul 2 instead of after foul 3. But it's frustrating because we had to limit Hart's minutes throughout the final minutes of the game, and we had to have McBride out there. And I don't think McBride should be seeing the court at all, honestly. And I know that I'm saying this with an incredibly limited bench, but there are guys that I think should get the look over McBride on the bench. I think Landry Shamet should absolutely be getting playoff minutes over Deuce McBride. He's proven that he's a more consistent shooter. He's not as good as facilitating or ball handling, I'll admit that, but I think he's a better defender as well. And realistically, we don't need a ball handler right now. We have McCall. We have Jalen Brunson. We have, Josh Hart, who occasionally handles the ball for us for, moments at a time. But point is, we have guys, not to mention Campaign is a decent ball handler. So there's plenty of ball handling on this team, and there's plenty of facilitating on this team. And Deuce just doesn't fit the role. Deuce just doesn't fit what we're asking him to do. And it frustrates me because I have to watch Deuce play. I'm sure it frustrates the other fans. I'm sure it frustrates the teammates. And I'm sure it frustrates Deuce. It sucks being put in a position like this.
I think... Yeah, the Knicks' main problem, I would say right now, is the fact that the starters are being played so much. Almost 40, each of the starting five is playing almost 40 minutes a game. And that's not sustainable. It's not going to work in the long run. And there's no really bench piece that Tibbs feels like he can trust consistently. And I think that's true, but I think it's also an issue of the fact that in no game that the Knicks have played so far have they had a considerable lead at the end of the game where they're like, all right, we can rest our guys and just play the game, And that's just not the case with other teams like the Celtics or the Cavs that have blown out teams in the final in the playoffs so far. And you have guys like Tatum who are resting entire games, and the Celtics don't feel like they need to play them. And I just can't imagine a world where the Knicks would even come close to winning a playoff game without Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine we sat Jalen Brunson for half a playoff game and just let him rest and relax and we still won? It would be insane. And I think another part of that is that we don't get those leads because Tibbs is just content to let guys go out there and do their thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, in some situations, that's a good thing because I think that, you should have faith in your players to be able to go out and do what you're paying them millions of dollars to do, get a bucket, get a rebound, do whatever. But in those late game situations, you need to be drawing up plays. And either the plays that he's drawing up aren't very good or he's not drawing up plays at all. And I think both of those situations are very concerning. I think that a combination of the minutes that these guys have been forced to run plus the poor substitution decisions. I mean, some of the crews that we had out there were diabolical. Mm-hmm. Mitchell Robinson, Campaign, and Deuce McBride should never be on the court all at the same time. I don't think they were in this game, but I think they were at one point throughout this series. And that is just completely unacceptable. That is how we get our. I know I'm going back to this issue because we talk about it all the time, especially during the regular season, where we have that balance between Tibbs plays the guys too much and the bench isn't good enough for us to justify anybody else getting minutes. So now I don't even know where I'm at. I'm frustrated at Tibbs for not giving our guys enough rest. I'm frustrated at the bench for not being good enough to pick up the slack. The only person I'm not angry at is Jalen Brunson. I love you, baby. Yeah.
I think when watching games in this series, I look at the Knicks and I'm like, I wish we had a guy like Dennis Schroeder on our team. I wish we had a guy like Malik Beasley on our team that we can rely on for some scoring reliability. And I think it's especially an issue in the three-point department. We have no player on our team that we can consistently trust to hit threes like a team like the Celtics has in Peyton Pritchard or Derek White, where these guys don't necessarily need that much minutes, but they'll consistently score for you. They'll get threes. And it's just going to continue to be an issue, and it's not really something that can be fixed. It's something that you hope the guys can get lucky and hit their shots.
That's kind of the situation that we're in with Cameron Payne right now, where that's his role. He's the guy that come off the bench and get a couple threes out, but he's just not a good enough three-point shooter for me to trust. Like, Campaign's on the court, now we're going to get the energy back. He's going to get a look. I just don't trust Cam because even with open looks, sometimes he bricks and sometimes he airballs. It's just not, he's not consistent enough for me to be like, yes, this is our guy. This is the guy that we want and that we need to be handling the ball right now. The same way that the Celtics can rely on a guy like Pritchard or the way that the Pistons can rely on a guy like Beasley. Like, we don't have that. And that is really it's going to show. I think it's going to expose a lot of weaknesses to this team in the future.
In Game 1 versus the Pistons, Cam Payne was 5 for 7 from the field, 14 points. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
In the rest of the entire series, he made 8 points in every single other game. 8 points. He made 4 buckets the rest of the game, the rest of the series, with a decent amount of minutes. I mean, in Game 5, they played him 12 minutes, 2 points, 1 for 3 from the field, over 1 for 3. That's just not sustainable.
No, it not only is it sustainable, it's outright bad. I mean, that's just poor performance out of Cameron Payne. But he's Cam Payne. It's not like we acquired him and everyone was expecting him to come out and be Malik Beasley or Peyton Pritchard. We expected him to be Cam Payne, and this is where we're at. Matt, did you notice that? Did you see the strategy that the Pistons were employing last night? I think it was towards like the start of the third quarter, but they had Paul Reed out there just fouling Mitchell Robinson as soon as we got the ball across half court because Knicks were in the bonus, and they were just going to let Robinson go to the line at the start of every single offensive possession.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not that great of a free throw shooter.
The broadcast said that he has the lowest free throw percentage of any playoff basketball player in NBA history. So in the playoffs, he has the worst free throw percentage of any player ever. I really hope that the Boston Celtics don't exploit that weakness.
Well, they're going to. Going up against the Celtics, it makes me wish we still had a guy like DiVincenzo who we can rely on as a talented shooter.
Yeah, definitely.
It remains the biggest issue with the team, and it's not going to be fixed.
Yeah,
and it gives me serious doubts going into this playoff series against the Celtics. We survived against we and it's not like we like comfortably beat the Pistons.
No,
it was an uncomfortable series win.
Definitely.
I think this could have easily two games could have easily gone in the Pistons' favor if Brunson wasn't as clutch as he was, and it would be a completely different conversation right now.
Yeah, but that being said, a lot of the Pistons games could have gone our way.
Yeah.
So
I know it's the nature of the game.
It's not like we skirted by the Pistons. I mean, we beat them in 6, but no, I definitely see where you're coming from. It was a very uncomfortable 6.
I just think we really needed to make a statement and blow out the Pistons in a game or two, and it just didn't happen. Yeah,
no, that's exactly it. We didn't have any of those statement victories. I would say that, we did have statement victories, but not the statement that we want,
Yeah.
The statement that we gave is more like, we're a team that is going to hang in there no matter what, and no matter what the deficit, we're going to fight, and we're going to, continue to do our thing, and we're going to play ball, and we're going to win. The statement that we wanted to make was, everyone in the NBA should be afraid of us right now because we just put the Pistons on a leash and walked them like our dog.
Yeah.
Not exactly the statement that we made, but, you can't be picky with these things. The Pistons are a very talented team. And before we go to break, I actually did just want to give a shout-out to Asar Thompson. I know he unfortunately got the final highlight of the series put right on his head.
Cooked.
But you got to give credit to this kid. He has been fighting his pants off every single game, both defensively and offensively. Yeah. He's a phenomenally talented piece, and I just wanted to say my piece. I do have nice things to say about some of the Pistons players, like how Malik Beasley shot really well in the beginning of the game and then went completely cold for the rest of the time, and then dropped the last pass out of bounds and handed the Knicks the series on a silver platter. Man, it feels good to be a Knicks fan right now. Oh man, it's a thing of beauty. Anything else you want to say before we go to break?
Nope, can't think of anything.
All right, that's beautiful. So when we get back, we're going to be talking about some more NBA stuff. We're talking about Cleveland versus Indiana, basically finding out who we're going to play once we beat the Boston Celtics in 5. Detroit Pistons haters. I'm sure the Knicks fan base has accrued quite a few of those. I don't even know how anybody can really hate the Pistons. I mean, especially since this team only won like 15 games last season. Anyway. So after a crushing series for the Pistons, I'm sure Pistons fans are pretty devastated right now. We are taking a bit of a retrospective look on this series from the Pistons' point of view. We're going to give you a little flip of perspective right now and just kind of discuss where we think the Pistons should be going from here. So, Matt, what do you think your biggest takeaways from the Pistons were this series?
I mean, this is the best season the Pistons have had in like 2 decades. It was a great bounce back season for them. Cade Cunningham truly looks like a star that the Pistons can rely on for the foreseeable future. The question is he going to be able to be that type of star that leads a championship caliber team? And that's completely unclear right now. They did lose Jaden Ivey. He wasn't available for this series, so that was a hit. I think the Pistons, A, they're lacking experience, and B, they are lacking a super talented person to bring into their locker room. So I think the most effective move for the Pistons at this point in time would be trading for the one and only Giannis Antetokounmpo. I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe it would be a great move. Why wouldn't it be a great move? Why are you laughing?
How do you think the Pistons are going to go and acquire Giannis? What, you're going to send over Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder and a couple firsts?
They can make something happen. You know, they can make it happen.
I just don't think the Bucks would. I don't think there's anybody on this Pistons roster right now that the Bucks would be so inclined, aside from maybe Cade Cunningham himself.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing they probably want to keep Cade on the team. But who knows? Maybe if the opportunity presents itself, we'll see Cade and Tobias Harris and Malik Beasley get shipped out to Milwaukee.
I'm not saying they're going to get Giannis. I think there's a lot of other teams that the Bucks could benefit more by trading with. Obviously, Houston is in that conversation.
Not to mention being cross-conference, not another team in the East.
But I think that the Rockets is a better fit for Giannis and the Bucks. But I think that the Pistons should be in the competition for him. They should at least try to go after him. I think anything that doesn't mean getting rid of Cade Cunningham should be on the table.
I just think that this team actually does have a decently competent core right now. I mean, they have solid bench depth in Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder and Paul Reed, and they have decent starters in Tobias Harris and Cade, and I'd say Duren has proven his worth throughout this series. There are guys like, Tim Hardaway Jr., who, while he is an incredibly one-dimensional player, he fills the role that they need him to. He's a 3-and-D guy. He does exactly that. Not to mention, you got a young freak like Ausar Thompson, who is coming into his own playing style right now, like before our very eyes. I think the Pistons should try and do everything they can to try and keep this core together. Really build some cement with these guys and take it that next step. Because, they lost to the Knicks, but like you said, this series really was a coin toss in a lot of the games. And the Knicks got away with some things that realistically, in a lot of other worlds, they probably didn't. I think there's even a couple alternate worlds where the Pistons even come away with this one. So I don't think that losing to the Knicks in 6 is an indicator that they should blow it all up and go for a superstar. I think it means that you need to let guys like Thompson develop, and you need to hold on to the decent pieces that you have right now. The Pistons don't need to panic and sell out everything just to go out and get a superstar player,
All I know is that the Pistons lost all 3 home games in this series.
True.
And that is a sign of, A, they couldn't handle with the pressure, and B, there wasn't enough experience on this team. Giannis is well experienced in the playoffs. Obviously, he's an NBA champion. He's been to the playoffs plenty of times in his career. I think it will be super beneficial past anything else. I can't imagine this Pistons core getting much further than they did this year without a star like him or acquiring some type of star player.
I'm actually going to one-up you on the superstar ladder, because there's another superstar who's on the move this offseason that I think the Pistons realistically are more likely to acquire and would fit the team better scheme-wise, and that is Kevin Durant.
I knew you were going to say Kevin Durant. I also would like that for Detroit. I think that would be a good move.
I think as a basketball fan, I'd love to see Cade and Thompson and KD, but I think as a Knicks fan, I definitely don't. Well, I want KD to come to the Knicks. Hey, no, I'm joking.
No,
I don't want KD to come to the Knicks, but I definitely don't want to see KD go to the Pistons, because that would just beef up their roster so much.
I think it would work though. I think
consistent high 20s, low 30s score, like that's deadly for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is a team that's closer than I think a lot of people realize, but also farther than a lot of people realize.
Yeah,
I think the addition of a star, it should be the priority for them.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. But I'm going to take a little pivot real quick. We're done talking about the Pistons. They're in the past. We're looking towards the future now. Cavaliers and Pacers. This is going to be a brawl.
Yeah.
What are your immediate thoughts on advantages, disadvantages? What are you thinking?
So I think something to look back to is the Pacers did defeat the Cavs 126-118 in the final game of the playoffs. But the Cavs have been red hot. There's no secret to that. They've blown the Heat out in every single game they've played. They're very deep. They have Evan Mobley, the defensive player of the year. They have a true number one in Donovan Mitchell, who is fantastic. But the Pacers are definitely not a team to scoff at. They have great players. They have in the center. They have Miles Turner, Tyrese Halliburton, one of the great young point guards in the NBA.
Yeah, I'd say so.
There's a ton of potential for the Pacers here, and I don't think in any world that this series is anywhere near as easy as the Heat series was for the Cavs, because the Pacers are a much better built out team. They have the star power. They have guys like Siakam who are great.
Yeah.
And I think that honestly the biggest benefit to the Pacers is the fact that Tyrese Halliburton's dad is banned from the rest of the playoffs. I think that's a big thing. So honestly, I think this game is going to go to 7 games, and I think my gut is telling me that the Pacers have this. I think the Cavs are going to get a little exposed here. I think the Pacers can facilitate the game very well. They made it to the finals, to the conference finals last year, and that was the closest sweep ever against the Celtics. Real ones remember it was the closest sweep ever. I think it's gonna go to 7, and I think the Pacers are gonna shock the world and move on to the conference finals.
Okay, I like this confidence. I think you're right. I think that, well, I don't fully think you're right. I think that the Cavaliers are an incredibly strong team. Obviously, you have Donovan Mitchell, you have Evan Mobley, you have Jared Allen, and then you have some pretty good supporting pieces like Strus and Ty Jerome coming off the bench. So obviously this Cleveland team, they are no slouch when it comes to starting roster strength and depth strength. Like, they're a strong team pretty much on all fronts. Mm-hmm. But something that the Pacers do better than maybe any other team in the entire NBA is they control the flow of the game. Halliburton does a phenomenal job of keeping the pace set to where the Pacers feel most comfortable. And I think that that is going to be one of the major ways that they expose Cleveland, because Cleveland as a team has always been more content to just race with the flow of how the game is working out, you know? Cleveland doesn't make a lot of effort to actively control the pace of the game the way that the Pacers do. It's funny. Mm-hmm. They're called the Pacers. They control the pace of the game. It works out perfectly in my mind. But what I'll say is a guy like Siakam can give you a bucket from anywhere on the court. He can drive, he can shoot, he can pretty much do whatever he needs to do to get the ball in that basket. And I'm not sure that there is anybody on the Cavaliers roster right now that has the combination of size and speed to work with him. I mean, Siakam's a big boy, and he moves like he's much smaller than he actually is. So I think that Siakam is actually going to be a huge determiner in whether or not the Cavaliers can come away with this one, as well as Halliburton's ability to maintain a pace that the Pacers feel comfortable with.
And, you know, I think something to look at for the series is that both teams are spreading the minutes out among their guys very well. Each of them has a pretty decent bench, very well built out teams. Obviously, I think the performance of Donovan Mitchell is so important to the Cavaliers. He's had a bit of a quiet postseason so far, but I do think in this series is where they're going to really need him, because they didn't really need him at all against the Cavs. I mean, against the Heat. They didn't really need him. They're going to need to break him out and let him get some crazy scoring going. Yeah,
completely agree. And I think another guy that's going to be big for them another matchup that's going to be big for this series is going to be Jared Allen and Miles Turner. Those two guys have really come into their own and developed their game in a major way throughout the course of this regular season. So I think it's going to be really exciting to see these two guys placed up on each other. I can assume that they're probably going to be guarding each other most of the time, considering they're, you know, the two big fellas.
Yeah.
And I love my big fellas, so I'm going to be keeping an eye down by the basket, watching Turner and Jared Allen doing their thing all day.
Yep. This is one of the more talented series that we have going on right now, I would say, from top to bottom. It's very exciting, and we're just going to have to see how it turns out. Where do you think it's going to go? Who do you think is going to win? How many games?
I am going to say that the Cavs are going to get it done in 7. I think that Cleveland is having too great of a year, and I think Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are having too great of a year to go out like this in the second round. And I know that the Pacers always make that unexpected jump to further than you expected them to, but I think their season's going to end right here in Cleveland. What about you?
I already said I think the Pacers are going to win in 7. I really do believe that. I mean, the 4 teams in the East are set, and I think these are the 4 best teams in the East.
Yeah.
They're all so talented in their own ways, and I think, well, you know what? I'm not going to talk about my Celtics prediction because we're going to talk about that next
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get back right here on Jake's Hot Takes, only on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. We'll be right back after this.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutoSpa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutoSpa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to RomaDeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're at 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing the stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Hello, Knicks fans. It is time to join up in the war room. Come to battle with us while we discuss the strategies. Thibodeau is going to be listening to this podcast later today to figure out what he's going to do against the Celtics. So we got to make sure that we're on point with our analysis today. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not play any games.
Yeah.
This is a Herculean effort that this team is going to need to perform with in order to get over these Boston Celtics. I mean, they're tough.
They are a very tough team, and they all around. This is the worst bench in the playoffs versus probably the best bench in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that is off the bat the biggest mismatch. I mean, you have the sixth man of the year, Peyton Pritchard, coming off the bench. He's so great. And they don't have to play their guys that many minutes is really the striking thing. They've been winning games without Tatum this entire postseason so far. And what's really struggling coming into this is that the Knicks are 0-4 in the regular season against the Celtics.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that we have not managed to get one over these guys in green, this gang green. The fact that we haven't been able to get over them once in the regular season is definitely pretty upsetting.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a good omen not being able to beat a team in the regular season. But that doesn't mean that we're just going to roll over and let the Celtics walk all over us. I mean, there's still definitely a lot of things this team can do to put Boston on their heels. I mean,
big question for the Celtics is if Jrue Holiday is going to be healthy for this series. It's a big question because Jrue Holiday is such a big part of the Celtics team, especially defensively.
Yeah, Jrue Holiday is very crucial for them. I think he's a phenomenal player in terms of his shooting ability and his defense. I think that the defense that he exhibits, especially the perimeter defense. Obviously, this team has a lot of really good defenders. I'd say Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum are all guys that I would consider good defenders. But, this Knicks team, they do have a lot of perimeter scorers. So a guy like Jrue Holiday who performs much better kind of on the outside as opposed to a guy like Brown or Tatum who succeed more on the inside, but they can defend on the perimeter. Definitely something that you're going to want to keep an eye out for because, Holiday is going to be on and off throughout this series, it seems like.
I mean, this is a legendary rivalry between these two teams. And you know what? I hate this fan base. I hate the Celtics. I hate their fans. I want nothing more than to just surprise them and just beat them.
Oh yeah, I would
hate
love
them.
Yeah, I would love nothing more than to pop these smug green guys in the mouth.
I hate them.
They're just.
I mean, they've got Derek. But I think the issue with the Celtics is how good they are at shooting threes.
Yeah,
that's the big issue.
Yeah,
and that's an element of the Knicks offense, especially from the bench, that just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
you got Derek White, who's great at threes. You got Sam Hauser, who's great at threes. Peyton Pritchard, one of the best players in the league at shooting threes. And then you got a bunch of other people too, like Tatum, Al Horford. Just everyone's great.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating, and it's honestly scary. I think there's going to be some games in this series where the Knicks get absolutely blown out because of that just alone.
Yeah, I think, the Knicks are going to need to pace themselves, definitely. I don't think we're going to be able to hit this full steam ahead mentality that we had when playing the Pistons. Just because I think if you took the starting five for the Celtics and the starting five for the Pistons, I don't think there's a single guy on the Pistons starting five that is better than their Celtics equivalent. I guess it probably would depend on where you're putting Cade on the depth chart. Let me actually see where. Talk about something while I look at where Cade is listed on the depth chart.
I mean, this
he's
is
a point guard.
the defending champions. It's going to be a very tough series.
Yeah, so Cade is listed as the point guard, so I would definitely have Cade over Derek White. So I stand corrected. The Celtics only have 4 of their 5 starters and their entire bench better than the Pistons.
And, of course, we haven't even spoken on Tingus Pingus yet.
Oh, man.
The unicorn size that really doesn't exist on the Knicks team. I mean, Cat's a big guy, but he's not as tall as Tingus Pingus.
I would, trust me, I would absolutely love for Kristaps Porzingis to be on the floor with us right now. The way that he can space the floor, the presence that he brings in the center. I mean, we're going to have Mitchell Robinson basically glued to his hip if we want to stop him from getting up in that post, doing that post work, man. Because I'll tell you what, Kristaps Porzingis in the post, there ain't nothing scarier except maybe a pack of dogs or a tiger. But he's scary, man. He'll make that bucket 9 times out of 10. He'll go up for it.
Yeah, I think the biggest matchup, though, obviously Jalen Brunson is the most important person on the team. There's no question about that.
Completely agree.
His matchup against Jaylen Brown is going to decide the series.
And it'll be legendary.
Jaylen Brown is one of those guys who can have such a great impact on offense and especially defense. I mean, he's a great defender. And he's going to be very physical with Jalen Brunson, and they're going to send him on him the entire series.
Yeah.
Similar to how Asar Thompson was covering Jalen Brunson very well.
Yeah.
It's going to be that times 2 with Jalen Brown.
Yeah, they're going to want their best defender on Brunson the entire night. They're gonna be chasing around like the same way that we saw Brunson look a little uncomfortable in this Pistons series because guys were glued to his hip. We're going to be seeing that a lot because, Asar Thompson, he only played 20 minutes in that last game. Jalen Brown, he's going to be playing the entire night, or at least he's going to be playing most of the night. But
and we need McCall and we need Josh Hart being physical on the perimeter with these Boston shooters.
Completely agree,
Peyton Pritchard, you can't let him get an open look. You can't let Derek White get an open look.
Can't let any of them get an open look.
It's just their scoring prowess. They have the best offense in the NBA. Is really what it is.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The most complete offense. But the hope is that the Knicks defense has been pretty good throughout this entire series.
Yeah, it has been pretty good. It has been.
And I think that this is going to be a tough series. And if I'm honest about this series, I think the Knicks are winning in 7 games, honestly. I think this is the time to prove the world wrong. I know even Knicks fans are doubting this, but you know what? All you can do is believe. Why would you go into a series thinking you're going to lose? Knicks in 7, baby.
I am throwing my whole heart behind this Knicks team right now. And I want to talk about, before I give my prediction of how many games, I want to say Karl Anthony Towns will be the determining factor of whether or not we win this series or not. His defense on Tatum is going to be completely necessary because there will be times where it's Tatum versus Towns. And I would say that Tatum is a significantly faster and more athletic player, even though Towns has the size advantage. But, Towns' defense is going to be very important. I think he played his role well for what it was worth against the Pistons, but, not only defensively, but offensively too. I mean, Towns, like I said, when we have Mitchell Robinson and he can occupy and he can occupy Porzingis or Al Horford, Towns is going to get some looks on Tatum and probably a few looks on Brown, and he's going to need to capitalize.
Yeah.
You have the size advantage. Give him a little shake and bake, get down in the post, put up a fader off the back shoulder. I don't care, Towns, but I want Karl Anthony Towns taking shots. I want him playing physical. I want him getting angry. We need like a Paul Reed, somebody to get Towns pissed off and fired up and angry about it, because he just doesn't seem like he's playing with that rage last game, like game 6 of the Pistons series. So I think as long as Towns can really step up his game offensively and keep about where he's at defensively, I think the Knicks got it in 6.
But you know what? They need to take one in Boston to open up a series.
They do.
They need to open the series 1-1. I don't think there's any world where we open it 2-0.
No, no, I don't think so.
In order to even have a chance, the Knicks need to open it 1-1.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
Because then we go back to New York, and I think that we have a prime chance to go up to 2-2, or if
get the Garden going. God bless. 2-1 maybe. Who knows?
2-1. Who knows? But this is a very tough team. This is going to be the biggest test of Jalen Brunson's career. I truly believe that.
Yeah, it will be. It definitely will be.
He hasn't faced a team this good. And and a lot of players on this team have not faced a team this good, I would say. This is a repeating champion, and it's going to be a tough series.
Yeah, this Celtics team is stacked top to bottom, so we're just going to need to put our heads down, play our best basketball, and get it done. But that is going to do it for today's episode of Jake's Hot Takes. If you like what you hear, make sure you tune in next Thursday, same time, same place, right here on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. Thanks for listening. We love you. Have a wonderful day.